Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a very simple, beginner-friendly, easy matte eye tutorial. Before I get started, I just want to say please excuse my hair. I curled my hair with like a bubble wand for the first time ever today, and it's just kind of crazy. I feel like it looks like I have like a lion's mane or something, so if it looks nuts, just please excuse that. I was just kind of experimenting. But yeah, this video is for this eye look that I have on today, just a very simple blended matte eye like I said, and I want to talk a little bit about like shadows and brushes before I get started, because like I said, I want this to be a more beginner friendly video, so I want to kind of cover the basics. So the first thing I want to talk about is shadow, and for this tutorial I am going to be using the Tartelette palette. This is an all matte neutral shadow palette. So in my opinion, whether you are new to makeup or you're already into makeup, I think a matte shadow palette is such a good addition to anyone's collection. It's something that you're always going to get use out of, and that's always going to kind of benefit you in your makeup collection. As you guys know, I really love Tarte's matte shadows. I think this palette is a great investment. There are a lot of options out there though. Also have the Naked Basics palette, which is quite a bit smaller and it's a little bit more affordable than this one. Makeup Geek also makes amazing matte shadows that are very affordable. Kat Von D has their Shade and Light palette. There's a ton of options for matte shadows out there. You don't need a whole palette necessarily though, because we are only going to be using 3 shades from this. But yeah, I think even if you are kind of newer to makeup, a good high quality matte shadow palette is a really great investment and a great thing to add to your makeup collection. Because if you have good shadows to work with right off the bat, it's going to make your life so much easier, and it's a lot easier to learn how to blend really well and everything when you're using good quality shadows to start with. The next thing I want to talk about is brushes, because for me, the key to a really good blended crease is a variety of sizes for crease brushes. And I'm sorry, these are dirty. I just did the look obviously and I didn't want to clean them right after. And another thing too, I am using more like high-end brushes in this video. You do not need to invest in super expensive brushes right off the bat. I didn't get like a good brush set until I was like 18, which I started wearing makeup very young, so that was like a really long time. But yeah, you don't need anything super expensive. Find whatever works for you in your budget, but I do recommend having a variety of shapes and sizes. As you can see, I have kind of like a larger fluffier brush, a slightly smaller crease brush, and then a more tapered kind of defined blending brush as well. And I find a variety of sizes for your crease brushes is really going to help give that nice kind of diffused crease look and really make everything blend nicely without completely losing the color or making your eye too intense. Another thing I want to touch on really quick is eye primer. Eye primer does really make a huge difference in your makeup. I remember I like ran out of primer, and for a while I wasn't using any primer, and then when I actually bought an eye primer again and started using it, I was like, holy crap, this makes such a difference that I didn't even realize before I started using it again. I know that e.l.f. makes like a really good eyeshadow primer that is only $1, but if you don't want to buy a primer, you can always just use a little bit of your concealer or foundation on your lids. That's what people always used to do before actual eyeshadow primers were invented, and it definitely works. So yeah, I think that was kind of everything I wanted to say. That kind of covered the basics. If you have any other questions, definitely comment down below and let me know. I always respond to all my comments. So if you want to see how to achieve this very easy matte eye, then just go ahead and keep watching. Alright, so I've already gone ahead and primed my lids. Like I said, I'm not too picky with primers, so I've just been using this one from Laqa. If you've seen any of my recent tutorials, you know that I prime my lids before I do my brows. So that is the first step. So like I said, today I am just going to be using the Tartelette palette from Tarte, and the very first step that I like to do when I'm doing an all matte eye is I like to take a light kind of highlighting shade that is a little bit lighter than my skin tone. I'm going to be using Super Mom, which is this really pale vanilla shade here. And the very first thing I do is I like to take this on just like a large flat shading brush, and I like to just pat this all over my lid. And this doesn't need to be like perfect or anything like that. We're just kind of placing it all over. It doesn't matter if it's kind of messy or anything. And what this does is this provides a nice smooth base, so when you're going in and blending any shadows on top of it, it's going to blend out a lot smoother and a lot more even, because sometimes what happens is when you're applying your eye primer, you can get like a little glob stuck somewhere that you don't really see, and then when you go to apply shadow over top, sometimes the shadow will just like stick in that one spot. I've had that happen a few times, and it's horrible because there's like no fixing it once it's happened. So this just helps to prevent that, and like I said, it'll just make everything way easier to blend on top of this. And it also will help even out your lids as well if you have like veins and things like I do. And even if you aren't doing a fully matte eye, I would recommend going in and setting whatever you're using on your lids with like a translucent powder, just to once again prevent that and make everything easier to blend, but it won't be as obvious as using like a light matte shadow. So now that we have that placed all over the lids, the next step is the transition shade, and for this one I'm using the larger, fluffier blending brush that I talked about before. A lot of people are kind of scared to place shadows with this larger kind of style of fluffy brush, but it does work really well as long as you're just kind of really slowly building it up and not adding too much at once. So for this, I'm using this shade here, which is called Force of Nature. I actually use this as a transition shade in pretty much all of my looks. If you've seen any of my tutorials, I always grab this for my transition. And we're just going to really lightly tap the brush in the product and then just start blending that kind of right above your crease. And I like to do both eyes at once and kind of jump back and forth just to make sure I'm getting everything even. I know some people will like fully do one eye and then go on to the next, but I can never do that. And a transition shade is exactly that. It's a transition color. So basically, it just ensures that any other shadows you place into your crease blend really softly into your natural skin tone, and it helps to give that kind of really nice blended, diffused look to an eyeshadow look. Alright, so there is the transition shade. Once again, this doesn't have to be perfect at this point because we are going to go in and do a ton of blending afterwards. We're just kind of placing it at this point. So then the next step is to go in with your slightly smaller crease brush, and I'm just going a little bit darker for this one. This is the shade Dreamer, and it is just a slightly deeper brown, and this is what we're going to use to kind of continue to add definition to the eye. So once again, just picking up the tiniest little bit at a time because you don't want to overdo it. You just want to really gradually build the color. Just place that a little bit more precisely in your crease. And as we get darker with our shadows, I like to kind of focus it more on the outer part of my crease and make sure I'm not bringing it in too close to the inner corner of my eye, because that'll make my eyes look smaller and kind of darken them up a bit too much. Alright, so now that I have that placed, I'm just going in with my fluffy blending brush again with no additional product on it, and I'm just blending it out like crazy. And that's another tip too. I like to blend everything out between each step just to make sure everything is still looking nice and seamless. And just softening that up so there is no harsh edges between those colors. Sometimes I will take a little bit more of that Force of Nature shade and just add it even more if it's starting to look kind of patchy. That is what it is looking like so far. So with this brush, I actually am just taking that exact same shade again, which is Dreamer, and I'm just taking the tiniest little bit and just further adding that to my crease. And I literally just do like the tiniest little bit of shadow for this step, because I don't want the eyes to get too dark. And I know this is repetitive, but once again, just going in with that fluffy first brush again and just blending, blending, blending. An excessive amount of blending is seriously the key. So then you can leave it like this, but I typically like to go in and kind of redefine that lid. If you leave it like this, it's going to look a little bit like softer and a little bit smokier, but I'm going to redefine my lid once again using the shade Super Mom, and I'm just going to pack this all over my lid, and I'm going to do my brow bone as well. So this just works to kind of clean everything up. Alright, so that is actually it for the shadow. That is what it looks like all complete there. So from this point you can kind of take it wherever you want. I'm going to add some liner and then also some mascara off camera. You can do like winged liner, you can do some like smudgy pencil liner, you can just leave it and just add mascara, you can line your lower waterline, whatever you want to do basically. So yeah, I'm just going to finish up with some liner and some mascara, and I will be right back. Alright, so there is the finished eye. Most of you guys have probably never even seen me with eyeliner on, because I go through like major phases where I either like love wearing winged liner all the time, or I just never wear any eyeliner at all, and for the past few months I've been doing that. This is actually the first time I've done liquid liner in like probably 3 months, so I'm pretty proud at how it turned out since I haven't done it in a while. But for those of you wondering, I just used the Lorac Front of the Line Pro black pen liner. This is my favorite. I did a little bit of tight lining with the Makeup Forever Aqua Eyes, just the black one. And for mascara, I'm just using Benefit Roller Lash. So very simple is what the finished eye looks like. Alright, so that totally wraps up this tutorial. I hope some of you guys found this video helpful. This look is just so incredibly versatile since it is neutral and matte. You can really take it whatever direction you want, so don't feel like you have to do exactly what I did for my makeup. But yeah, if you did find this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!